Talking about YouTube comments earlier, did that relate to it? No, Randy. It wasn't today that I was thinking. It was the other day. I thought of a bunch of stuff. I was actually like kind of ranting about it on stream. Honestly, I don't know if it's going to come back to me anyway, so might as well just watch it and react. Today we're going to be watching a Weak3n video titled "Is Smite 2 Worth Returning to in 2025?" And I thought it would be a good thing to watch and react to a little bit because I have a lot of thoughts about this kind of stuff lately. I've been ranting about it on stream every so often, and I actually had a lot of things to talk about, but I kind of forgot a lot of them and I forgot to write them down. But I'm sure Weak3n talking will stir some of my thoughts and get it back at the forefront of my mind. So hopefully that happens. Either way, we're gonna be watching the video and giving our honest reaction to what Weak3n has to say to "Is Smite 2 worth returning to in 2025?" I also think this is a good video to make because I get asked all the time in my stream right now. It seems like there's a lot of people who are considering trying it again, or trying it for the first time, or maybe people that just hate the game and just, I don't know, they just like watching Smite 2 videos still, even though they hate the game, which is actually a number of people that is larger than 0.
Is it worth playing Smite 2 in 2025?
Oh, you guys can't even see the screen. Sorry. There you go. Now you can see. Let's crack straight into it, right? Okay. Let me restart that. You guys can see Weak3n again.
Is it worth playing Smite 2 in 2025?
I have it at 1.5x speed because, well, just so we can get to the video. I'm gonna pause.
What is going on, boys and girls of YouTube? How are you guys
Hey, Weak3n.
doing? I'm coming off of 4th of July festivities. The day before that, we did the Weak3n cosplay. Don't ask questions.
This is good editing, by the way.
Don't ask questions. I hope you guys never see that. And I got on today, and I have a bunch of videos that I want to get made. I have things, you know, written down, ready to go, planned out. And I came across like 3 things that made me want to make this specific video. I keep seeing a ton of people complaining, mainly on Twitter, a little bit in other places, you know, people cry everywhere, but on Twitter, because Mercury's release just came out and he was weak. If you guys have followed anything with Smite 2, you know that. Yeah,
Merc was really bugged. Like, he was mainly just bugged. It wasn't that he wasn't, like, strong or weak. He literally just had too many bugs, so.
They moved on from Smite 1, essentially. Smite 1 is still playable, but it hasn't been getting updates for almost 2 years now. Smite 2 has essentially been in development for like 2 years-ish, and it's been playable for a year. It's been free-to-play for 6 months, or maybe 7 months. That's the timeline. But Mercury just released.
Sometimes I forget about that. It's only been free-to-play for 6 months. That's actually kind of crazy to think about, with the amount of progress they've made, with how little people they have working on the game now compared to what they had before.
He's got some bugs and he's weak. We've had most of the gods that have been re-released or even new gods come out be pretty strong on their release. So it created this big, odd to me, big backlash over a god. And it delved deeper into people complaining about the game and how Smite 1 is better. Smite 2 is just Smite 1 with a worse map, all kinds of stuff. This isn't targeted towards any one person. That, what I just said specifically was something that El Leon had tweeted. It was deeper than that. That's just surface level. Andy's my boy, not targeting him at all. Just using him as an example because that's what I'm thinking of. But you know, if you go find that's
I remember when Andy tweeted this. I remember when Andy tweeted this, I was like pretty confused because I think there are a few characters that feel worse. Like on her, for example, I'd rather play him in Smite 1. Maybe like a couple other examples, but like, especially the version of the same gods, I just could not disagree more. Like, go on a bit of a rant here because this is the main thing I wanted to talk about. I've been having so much fun playing Smite 2 lately, and I'm playing characters that I hated in Smite 1. That gave me absolutely 0 dopamine. The perfect example of that right now is Ganesha. Ganesha with his aspect, I'm telling you guys, I just go full CDR Ganesha aspect mid, sometimes like jungle or something like that as well. But literally the most dopamine I want to say it's the most I've ever gotten in Smite, but it's definitely at the same level as like the prime time levels I would get in like Smite 1, maybe like earlier on in the days when I was really just playing the game for fun and it wasn't just my job. Obviously, I still think the game is fun, but you know what I mean? Like, those levels of dopamine. I get that from playing, like, Ganesha mid, for example, which is just so weird to even say. Like, Ganesha mid with an aspect, and I'm going full damage. And, yeah. So, like, that's an example. Like, that's, like, an extreme example of it. But there's so many gods that even if their base kit you didn't like, it doesn't feel as good as Smite 1, which there are a few examples of that. So many of the characters, in my opinion, especially the range characters, feel better to play in Smite 2. And then you have aspects, and then you have different ways to play their kits with some of the +1s. Like Vulcan's +1s, dude, Vulcan as well. Even though Vulcan was a really fun god in Smite 1, again, the dopamine levels I get from playing Vulcan in Smite 2 are far clear that of Smite 1. And it's because of stuff like Thumper. Thumper's a fun ability. It's fun to run around the map and farm with it. and stuff like his extra scaling on his abilities. It makes it super satisfying to hit like a meatball one combo. And just going on along those dopamine levels, I guess I'll talk about it right now. Like stuff like the recent thing that they added, the stacking numbers. That's not something I actually thought I would want or care about. But now that I've been playing with it for a few weeks, literally, it's like I can't believe it wasn't in the game before. It's literally when I just see those numbers go up, my heart grows in size like the Grinch. Like it feels so good. I love building like dot builds and then just seeing that number go up, that yellow number. Like I love it, and I feel like if you haven't tried it out, you should try out the stacking numbers. It's literally an SSRI hack.
It was deeper than that.
Anyway,
that's just
sorry.
surface level. And he's
more to talk about with
not
that.
targeting him at all. Just using him as the example because that's what I'm thinking of. But you know, if you go find that tweet, you will see response after response after response. Some defending Smite 2, some agreeing. I want to open this with the whole point of this video. Is it worth playing Smite 2 in 2025? I don't know if we all just forgot, but people were complaining and attempting to quit Smite 1 for years. Like pros would quit every other month and come back the next month. Streamers would quit for a week and come back the next week for years. From like season 4 to season 10, this was happening. So I don't know if we just forgot that there was always bad or down times in Smite 1. There was an entire year where I barely played Smite 1. I think it was season 9. I can't exactly remember. I like played and made content, but I was putting a lot of time into other games. I don't know if we just forgot that. Like, are we living in a world where Smite 1 was perfect? Because I very vividly remember it being the opposite. I don't want to spam pause too much because I want to let Weak3n finish his thoughts. But dude, I didn't even think about this. Like, and it's so obvious. Everyone is looking back with like rose tinted glasses that like everything in Smite 1 was great. They just want to go back. There wasn't constant complaining about how buggy the game was. Every patch broke stuff. There were certain seasons that people absolutely hated. We can just talk about it. He didn't play like a full season, and I think he said season 9 or something. I think maybe Weak3n's about to talk about this actually, so maybe I should shut up. But I think what happened was the end of Smite 1 was so good. The last map, stuff like the tikis were really sick. Stuff on the map, there was like the beacon that we had. I don't know if that was actually towards the end. Was that still in the game? I think it was. We had like the tikis, the beacon. The items were fun. The map itself felt good. There was stuff to fight over. The neutrals were important. There was actually such a good state of the map towards the end that I think that actually is kind of like biased people into thinking that Smite 1 was just perfect the whole time and that we never needed a new game. But is he about to talk about that? Season 10 into season 11, which wasn't a pro season, but like season 10 and season 11, the game was great. I played all of season 10. I like played the whole year long into season 11, which was when Smite 2 was announced. I was enjoying the game a lot. So I get how we left on a high note, but we also left on a high note because the game wasn't changing much during this time and they were prepping for Smite 2. And we were all playing on a high of, oh, we're gonna have this better game coming out, ignoring the fact that we were gonna have to wait to get to that better game. It wasn't just gonna poop out, they were gonna poop out this perfect version of Smite. They never did it with Smite 1. So I had to talk about that. I also keep seeing people.
That's such a good point though. Sorry, I'm just gonna drive it on one more time. Like, people look back now, and I mean it's always easier to do that and just be like, oh, it was always better before. But I don't know, man. Like there's certain games right now that I'm playing. When I get good games in Smite 2, I'm telling you guys, it feels like prime Smite for me. And the only reason I don't get better games or get those more often is because there's just not enough people playing the game. But like a good matchmaking game that's close back and forth, goes to 30 plus minutes, and there's good team fights. I'm telling you, it feels, to me at least, this is just my opinion, but again, like this is like high level games when there's big boy games and stuff. It literally feels like prime Smite 1 days. I just wish there was more like good players queuing for that, for one, or just more people queuing in general. But yeah, so I don't know.
Like, oh, Smite 2 stinks. Go play Predecessor. Don't get me wrong. I did a sponsor stream with Predecessor like 2 weeks ago, and I kept playing the game. I still am planning on playing the game on and off. It's a much better game than it was. However, sitting here and saying that it is better than Smite 2 is insane to me. Predecessor has been out for over 2 years. It has 40-some characters. Keep in mind, Predecessor is the replicated version of a specific state of Paragon, which was out like 8 years ago. A lot of the same characters. So it's not like they're brand new. There are some brand new characters in Predecessor. I'm not gonna take that away. Their newer characters are actually really fun. Like their last 2 characters are sick, but it's taken them 2 years to make less gods than Hi-Rez has put in the game in 1 year. Because I'm talking about.
I don't want to talk about this too much, but to defend Predecessor, even though I actually don't care because I don't really want to play that game. I don't really, not really that interested. Although their 2 new characters do seem really cool. They're doing a good job with that. To defend him a little bit, they have like a much smaller dev team. They don't, like, Hi-Rez has a huge backing, and they also have made a bunch of money off of their games. So the fact that they've been able to put some developers towards making newer gods and making more gods in a smaller time frame, I mean, of course they're going to be able to do that. Like, Predecessor is a very small team. However, like, that's just to steel man them a little bit, even though I don't really care.
2 years of the game being playable, of Predecessor being playable. Not talking about the development stages beforehand. That's why
like, theoretically, if Predecessor is a good game with what they're doing right now, if they get more backing, they might be able to get more people on board, and they might be able to make better stuff and more characters and stuff in a smaller time. But yeah, like, if you like Predecessor, people have been telling me to try it. A lot of like people have been trying it. It looks kind of fun. I've tried it. I did a sponsor stream for them like maybe a year ago, and I know the game is in a much better spot now. But me personally, if I'm wanting to play a MOBA right now, I'm either going to be playing Smite or Deadlock. And if I'm not playing a MOBA, I'm going to be grinding like Valorant or something else when that happens. You know, I just don't see myself playing that right now. But again, because I'm having so much fun with Smite 2.
Smite 2's development stages beforehand. So we're talking about a game that is basically similar to the same amount of time as Smite 2-ish. Smite 2's been out for a year, so not really the same, but similar. And Smite 2 already has way more characters. On top of that, Smite 2 has aspects. I know Predecessor put in a similar thing. It's not the same. Smite 2's aspects, the ones that are done right, which are a majority of them, make you play the character completely different. Kali is not the same god with aspect turned on. The aspect turned on makes Kali a ranged auto attack
Kali aspect is so cool.
Ultimate and a different 3. So half the kit changes, and it completely changes everything. It's not the same. If you had a different skin or something on the character, you wouldn't know it was Kali. And I'm not joking. You really wouldn't realize it. So while high res is at like 50 some gods, we've also got 20 to 30 aspects or whatever it is, the exact amount. That's 20 to 30 separate gods in my mind. And I realize if you don't play the game, you might be like, oh, it's not a big deal. It is that big of a deal in a lot of characters. You know, like Thor's aspect doesn't make him a different god. It makes him tankier. One, he's more damaging, one, he's more tankier. It does play differently and you feel it for sure. But not all of them are completely new gods, but some of them are. The new one that's coming out, I think Monday, makes her.
Some of them are very, very similar, so you're not really playing the character that differently, but they've been doing a lot better job with them recently. You know, like the first iteration of anything is going to be not as good as the further ones. So like some of these like ones that came out with the initial aspect patch are just really not amazing. They barely do anything. They barely change anything. You kind of just play them the same, build them the same a lot of the time. Maybe like one or two things differently, but the ones that they've been doing recently really change up the god and are really, really fun. And I think that just shows they kind of hit their groove with the aspects. Like the Nuwa aspect that Weak3n's talking about right now is really, really cool. I think they could probably do like one more small change to it and then be really sick. But you know, just in general, the stuff that they've been cooking up lately has been so much fun. Merlin aspect is like, again, I'm gonna keep using this word, dopaminergic. There you go. I know how to pronounce it. Merlin aspect is like some of the most fun I've ever had playing any Smite ever. And the more that they can do stuff like this, the more it makes me want to play the game. Like stuff like that, actually, I look forward to getting on and playing Ganesha aspect, for example, which is just so weird. I look forward to getting on and playing Merlin aspect. Just stuff like that. I mean, obviously I'm a longtime player, so that kind of unique, different stuff is going to draw me more than just like, I don't know, just porting over the same god. And that may not be the same type of content that a new player wants to have, because if you've never played Smite before, do you really care about Merlin aspect? But yeah, just giving my side
ultimate
of the
able to crit in
opinion.
one shot. like we never had her ultimate hitting this hard ever. Granted, she'll get nerfed, buff, whatever, you know, tweak, balance. That is a big deal.
Yeah, she's already been
really
nerfed.
Predecessor to that because they have, you know, something along the same lines. But I don't think it's fair to be sitting here saying that Smite 2 is worse than Predecessor. Predecessor is better. I realize there's a lot of opinion that goes into that. But the biggest turnoff for me from Predecessor right now, I was excited to grind the rank scene. Their ranked matchmaking system is terrible. And all the feedback from all the players and all the top level players say the same thing. Their matchmaking system is terrible. Smite 2,
I can't speak on this. I have no
they
idea.
actually did
I
work out
barely
a
watched
very good.
any.
They literally just got implemented before their matchmaking guy quit. A very good matchmaking.
I don't think I watched
it
like
is
more than 10
extremely
minutes
accurate in terms of
recently
numbers.
of that game.
Now the player base is the problem where you see matchmaking have issues. There aren't enough really good players to fill the tie-in games, and it causes a trickle up effect into moving worse players up and up and up than they should be. But that's not the system. That's our player base needed to get better for one and get bigger for two. So just want to talk about
exactly
the Predecessor
that's what
stuff.
I was talking about
I really
earlier.
just wanted to give an update because a lot of my older videos where I would shit on Smite 2, which is more me just super critiquing and telling the devs like this is how I feel when it's be done. Those still get a lot of comments and a lot of attention and views, oddly enough. So I feel like I need to have this video out because I want people to see the state of the game now. We are so much further along than I think anyone thought they would be when the game launched. It was as terrible as it was. Smite 2 came out and it was bad. The first 6 months were very bad, unplayable bad from my perspective. Then January was a massive turning point. There was a bunch of acknowledgement that went on, a huge shift within the development, and literally that day that they announced, you know, hey, we're making a difference, they literally dropped the patch that made a huge difference. It changed the feel of the game completely. And from there to now, 7 months later, to me the game feels great. There's good and bad.
Okay, so talking about that a little bit, I think Weak3n was a bit more harsher. I had, like, there was at one point that I was taking a huge break from Smite. I was playing a bunch of Deadlock. I just was not finding the game fun, which can, I guess, give you a little bit of more credibility to what I'm saying now, because when the game isn't fun, trust me, if I get on and play 6 hours of Smite, my true thoughts are going to shine through. Like, I'm going to be like, I'm miserable, like, this sucks. Even if I was just trying to be a high-res shill, like, it would just come out. But I literally log on, I play games, and I'm like, dude, I'm having so much fun. I say it on stream all the time. Like, so like I said, I've been a little bit critical of high-res in the past, like, 6 months or so. I know Weak3n was very critical. He made some videos, like he just said. But just to talk about, like, that the game has come up, or has progressed so much since then, especially since the early alpha, even since January. I mean, January was like the big patch that helped out a lot, but the game has progressed even more since then. The thing is, they don't have as many people working on it now as they did then, which sucks. Like, if they had the same dev team that they had in January as they did now, and they didn't lay them off because of stupid management, I can't even imagine where the game would be right now. I think we'd be like, I don't know, the future would be so bright for sure. But yeah, just comparing it to its past self is a little weird, because you're kind of saying like, well, if something's like absolutely shit, if you're comparing dog shit to like, maybe like, I don't know, maybe like a fart, like maybe the fart's gonna be better, but like not even comparing it to its past self. Like Smite 2 is an objectively fun game for me right now. I say objectively for me, but you know what I mean? Like I think it's amazing. I've been having a lot of fun with it. So not even comparing it to its past self, just comparing it to other games that you can play right now, I think that it's fun and worth playing, which I guess answers the question right here, but
I'm not gonna sit here and say the game is perfect. It's definitely not. So I want to talk about some pros, and then we'll talk about some cons.
Thank you, Lily.
Right? We talked about aspects of it. Aspects make you experience gods in an entire new way, right? A completely different way than you ever would have thought of a lot of the time in Smite 1. It's a whole new learning experience. It's fun. For me, I realize a lot of people are scared, or they don't like change, or they don't want to go through the process of learning, but like that's the fun of the game. The new things, the game changing is what kept Smite alive for 11 years. We don't want the game to become stale. I realize it's annoying or a lot of work to figure something new out, but once you get it, that feeling of accomplishment is a big deal. And
since we could just talk about it real quick as well, since we're about to watch it, there's going to be a reveal for Wukong today, and from what I've heard, they cooked with him as well. So just talking about how they've been cooking with aspects lately. I don't even know if it's his aspect or if he even has one. Not talking about that, but I've heard some good things about Wukong, so just throwing that out there before we even get to see it, because I'm recording this before we see that.
And we, you know, Smite 1 had 120, 130 gods. I play the game a lot. There are people that play way more than me. It's Smite 2 play way more than me. Once those people play all these characters and get a feel for them, it gets boring quickly. Trust me, it does. It sounds dumb. Like, there's a lot of variety, but people want to have to...
Eternity in YouTube chat says, could definitely tell when you're enjoying the game. I remember those few months a while back where the game wasn't that good and you looked and sounded absolutely miserable. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you'll be able to tell through just how I'm acting and stuff. I mean, even through, like, I don't say how I'm acting. Like, I literally tell you, and I'll take breaks. I'll play other games more, or maybe even just, I even played it all certain days, but yeah, like I'll tell you, you could tell, but yeah.
To push their limits, they want to learn new stuff. Aspects has done that, and it does it every patch. We're getting every 2 weeks, we get a new god, or we get a ported god or a new god. So like Mercury was last week. We also get 1 or 2 aspects, which is, like I said, the new aspect coming out makes her a crit god essentially. It's a new build, new playstyle potential. You know, min-maxing when do you use certain abilities, what lane are they good at? It's a whole new learning experience. That's a big deal for me. That is something that I think should entice you to play Smite 2, not scare you away from it. Outside of aspects, just base gods. In Smite 2, a lot of gods are played very differently, or have the ability to build specific patterns, specific ways, you know, different styles, different lanes than they ever did in Smite 1. Smite 1 was hard locked. You very rarely saw mages or assassins in the solo lane. You see that a lot now. I really don't believe it's the best, but you see it a lot and people enjoy it. You see, like,
you can play a lot of stuff in solo in Smite 1. There are a lot of metas where you can play different stuff. I'm not saying Weak3n, it's just saying you couldn't do that, but there's definitely different times where it was very viable. I think right now it's just really viable because of how the map is and how the items are. And if they change that, they're going to be less viable, just like how stuff was in Smite 1. That's not really that big of a deal, though. I mean, you should have a lot of variety in roles. It should be like, if the game is balancing, if high-res wants the balancing to be towards like one role being the dominant in that role, like warriors probably should be in solo, otherwise they don't have a niche to fill and they're kind of pointless, then they shouldn't just be like basically unviable over there, which they aren't unviable right now. But I mean, I could do a whole video on solo lane in Smite 2, because to go down the other side, I am not playing any solo. That's part of the reason I'm having so much fun, because solo in Smite 2 is awful, but every other role is a lot of fun in my opinion. I've been playing all the other roles. And part of that is like, maybe I'm just burnt out on solo. Maybe other people are enjoying solo right now. I've played it for so long. Maybe it's just time for me to play other stuff. And that's what I've been doing. And it's been fun.
Auto attack build, both are viable. That was never a thing in Smite 1. She was pretty hard locked to an ability build for 10 years. Like, every once in a while, something might change because Hunters are OP. But in general, the game is pretty balanced right now. And you see these played in multiple different ways with different builds within that.
Sorry, I keep pausing the video, but I don't want Weak3n to sue me anyway. So I need to pause and react to stuff. Also, that's like a microcosm of like a bigger thing with Smite in general. A lot of you guys are probably just burnt down on Smite, I'm not gonna lie. And like, you're like butting your head, trying to enjoy it. Like, in my opinion, based on everything I know and how much I've played both games, at least when you get like a good game, because matchmaking can be pretty bad sometimes, and I understand that's awful. When you get a good game in Smite 2, in my opinion, it feels just as good as Smite 1 to play. So when people are like, oh, it just doesn't feel the same to me and stuff, like, I don't personally get that and understand that. Maybe you're burnt out. Maybe you take a break, come back to it when there's more gods. Maybe one of your gods gets in, you could try it then. But even then, like I swear there's like so many gods that even if you didn't like in Smite 1, you might like in Smite 2 because of aspects and changes. But regardless, like I feel like there's a decent amount of people, a high percentage of people that probably just burnt out. They played Smite for like 12 years, you know, like that's a long time to enjoy anything. Even like a hobby, you know what I mean? So like, I don't know. Just how I see it.
You can run strength ability builds or mage ability builds, which would be like int items. You can never do that in Smite 1. The build variety is there because you aren't hard locked having to build strength or int. I saw a post the other day. It was like, I hate that you could build anything.
Skeleton.
You know, Smite 1 was better because it made you build these items. It's like, bro, you cried
that's
for
brain
8
dead.
years wanting more variety. You like we asked for this. So why are you crying about it now? Because you have to relearn. Like the game, I love it. I love that I can try a different thing every game and figure out what works the best, and then fix that even more by tweaking items within that realm. So if I try int for strength, int's better. All right, how do I want to build my int build? Int cooldown, int pen. Just, I get to try so much stuff every day, and I think that's just more fun. I think
I agree.
Is a level of fun you never had in Smite.
This is a bias for like me and Weak3n and high level players or content creators. Obviously, that's going to be more fun for us. Like a new player doesn't really care about this. They're so overwhelmed and everything. They just want to have the build given to them. But you have build websites like Weak3n's advertising for right now. You have the God Builder in game now. Like there's a lot of ways to lower the barrier of entry for newer players or even like mid-level players that don't really understand builds and stuff. So the higher level players can still have fun making builds and everything like that, but when you have stuff like the God Builder in game where you can make builds and just give people the correct builds, it's a little hard to keep up with right now because there's so many changes and constant patches, which is a good thing, but because they're improving the game. But yeah.
So for me, variety is a really big
deal. If you're ever confused,
aspect,
build website, God Builder.
Your starter item is its own slot. So you have 6
As streamers,
that
YouTubers.
completely changed build paths and power spikes and when do I need pen versus when I don't. It changes everything. It allows for I call it like a luxury item where you have a slot where you can kind of, you won't lose if you're damage character. You can go an item that does no damage. A lot like the Morrigan, for example. There's a helm that makes you go stealth for like 4 or 5 seconds on a 2-minute cooldown. It's good. You lose damage, but you gain this whole different aspect. They removed the aura protection
15 minutes
characters, so supports don't have to just sit there and be aura bots, which we complained about for 10 years in Smite 1. Now supports can get 3 active items that are like one's basically a sprint for the whole team. One turns you into a boar, so you dash in or out for engage. One can put a thing on the ground that heals everybody. Like there's so much more variety, and they're just starting. We're just starting. The game's been free to play for 7 months. I love it. Talk about.
See again, seven months of free to play. It's not something I think about. You know, Weak3n, this guy, he's got some good thoughts sometimes. No, but for real, the active items for supports are so much fun. Active items in general are sick. I think some of the other stuff he talks about, like, that's not necessarily a thing that you needed to have in Smite 2. Like, we didn't need to have, like, an extra item slot. Like, you could have done that in Smite 1 if you wanted to. It's not like there's necessarily extra tech from going to Unreal Engine 5. And, like, some of the build variety and stuff and where you build your pen. Like, that could just change from meta to meta in Smite 1 as well. However, I do love the building in Smite 2. And I think anybody that complains that and says that it's worse, I don't know. I feel like... I don't know. It's hard for me to say because maybe I'm biased, but I think it's so much fun. And I actually think they should be doing it more and cooking more with it. I've been saying that for a while now. Like, I think it'd be really cool if more characters were hybrid. Like, for example, like Uller. Like, if I could build, like, Chronos Pendant, Spear of Deso on Uller, the amount... I would literally, like, have a seizure from the dopamine rush to my brain, I think, from having Staff of Mirrodin, Spear of Deso, Chronos Pendant on Uller. I might climax on the spot if I was able to build that.
Matchmaking. I think Smite 2's matchmaking, like physically matching people, is infinitely better. Somebody is inevitably going to comment on this video, like, well, I had this really low player on my team today. No, you didn't. You had that player in a party with a higher rated player. When you party queue, it pulls you up to the higher rating, as it should. It should not pull high level players down to lower rated game. You should not be queuing with your friend who stinks at the game. That's what casuals are for. Like, matchmaking competitive is meant to be competitive. You can't have competitive games if you're going out of your way to make them less competitive. That's not the system's fault. That's on you. I like where the matchmaking is at. I don't like where the people that play matchmaking are at. A lot of them are bad. It's so toxic. Every game is toxic. Sports are toxic. They've been toxic since the beginning of time. Competitive gaming has been toxic since the beginning of time. It's not going away. It's just not the level of toxicity you make.
Bro, dude, I can't get enough of this conversation because people still, like, I see it in Reddit, I see it in, like, comments and Twitch chat. Yes, there's going to be toxic people in Smite. And it sucks, especially when they're griefing your games. That's when it's really annoying. Like, I feel like people are saying bad words and stuff like that. That's really lame, but, like, you can mute them, focus on yourself, and you can still have an enjoyable game. But when people are griefing, that's what really sucks. You need to crack down on that. But to act like people are like, Smite's the most toxic community ever. Bro, that is insane. I've been playing a lot of VOW lately. I was thinking about playing CS. I haven't played CS in years. I hopped on my very first DM. I had somebody screaming the N-word over voice comms. My very first game in years. And if you participate or keep track of, like, these other communities like VOW, CS, Apex, League, Like, it's actually absurd to think that Smite would be even the most toxic. But even who cares? Like, if you're trying to have a competition about it, there's no way you could actually like set in stone like, yeah, this one is the most toxic. But if you do participate in any of those other communities, I feel like you're being a bit obtuse if you think that Smite's more toxic than those. But regardless, obviously toxicity is always an issue. But just stop saying it's the most toxic. You're absolutely delusional if you think that.
Get out to me. Getting called bad because you build bad, you kind of deserve it. You're in a competitive mode. Go play casuals. If you get in casuals, those people are assholes. The last thing I'm going to really say is the potential of the game. They've just kind of balanced out where they want the game, I feel like, where they don't have to tweak every quality of life thing. They don't have to worry about movement and this and that. I'm sure that will happen over time, but it's not like we have to do this now. They're at the point now where they can just build on the game. And the
Call of Duty? I didn't even mention Call of Duty, bro. How could I not mention that?
I mean, items, gods, map changes, objectives, everything is infinitely higher than Smite 1. Smite 1 was capped. That's why they needed a new game. Smite 1 did not have the ability to be ported to UE5. It was too old. That's not a thing. That's not how it works. It's not possible, okay? So they had to build a new game, so they had no limitations anymore. Right off the rip,
I've talked about this in past videos as well. Like, you are, no offense, but you are incredibly naive to think, like, I see people thinking this, like, oh, they could have just kept working on Smite 1 and kept making Smite 1. Like, their entire business was built on Smite, and it was on Unreal Engine 3 and on Flash and on programs that are, like, not going to be still used. Developers aren't working on those anymore. And to act like they were, like, growing or the game was doing well towards the end of Smite 1, like, they didn't just do this randomly. Like, even though they do have some questionable higher ups, like, they can tell when they're slowly losing money and when they're just going to go under. Like, to think that they could have just kept making Smite 1, kept making updates. Like, even now, my guess, if they had not done this and just only been working on Smite 1, they probably wouldn't be making patches on Smite 1. It probably would have been discontinued or stopped by now, honestly. And again, it goes back to that thing, looking back with rose-tinted glasses, like, to think that, like, everything would just be perfect if they continued Smite 1 this whole time. I don't know. It's a bit naive, in my opinion. Yeah, Unreal Engine 3 in 2025. Like, you can't even hire devs that work on that anymore, and it's rough stuff.
A lot of the limitations that they had in Smite 1 that they just got to bypass.
Yeah, they were struggling to hire devs. Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of pros. I get it.
Now they're firing them, though.
There are cons.
Sorry.
The map
bad joke.
And a lot of the objective play, I think, is still bad. I think Gold and Pyro have been way too easy forever. I know it's for players to figure out, and they're doing it for a reason. But, like, Fire Giant feels really balanced now. The other objectives don't. That's a simple change, but I think they're pretty hard locked on them being easier. So the cons for me are the objective play is a little weaker than Smite 1 was as of right now. I think Fire's the same, but the other objectives are not the same. A big con is rebalancing when they pull gods over. Like Mercury, sometimes they're going to pull gods over, and they're going to not work with the way the Smite 2 is set up, with the higher protections, the more HP that's like.
I guarantee, like, if they still had the same dev team as they did in January, like, a lot of these ports would be so much, well, of course they would be. Like, they have like a certain amount of people, a lot less than they did before, working on all these ports and everything, and it's going to make it harder. And they're working hard, so.
And they're going to need to be balanced. That's going to be a waiting game.
But, you know, sometimes there's going to be bugs. But the thing is, like, even Merc, like, he released with a bunch of bugs. Sorry, I keep talking over Weak3n and pause the video. I know you guys are probably annoyed. I apologize. But they released Merc, and he had a bunch of bugs, but they literally hotfixed, like, 90% of them in, like, one day.
Is that the worst con in the world? To have to wait another week, 2-3 weeks to get your god balanced? It's really not that big a deal, but I get the annoyance, and I understand how that could be something that could deter you from swapping, you know, if you're waiting for your character to come out. The player base needs to grow. It's a massive one. Our player base is not as small as people want to make it out to be. The console base is huge. I think the console base.
Wait, what were we just talking about? I had another thought there, but
waiting game. So that could be a con. Your favorite god could come out and you can be weak. The way the Smite 2 is set up with the higher protection.
Oh, he's talking about the map a little bit. Yeah, okay, that's a huge con for me. That's something that they really need to work on. I think with everything I've talked about before, I've been having so much fun with the game. I enjoy a lot of stuff. If they were to just make a significant change to the map, maybe even make a new map further down the road, but for now, make some good changes to the map, fix solo lane, remove those side back harpies, add maybe a new camp where the UAV camp is, where it's got like 5 things like the Tikis, where you get to choose what you want from it. So you walk up and press your interact button, so we can use the interact button more, because that's something that Smite 2 is supposed to be doing. It has 5 options. One of them is a Raven ward. One of them's the UAV. One of them's like a temporary chop for like 30 or 40 seconds. One of them's a throwable, like a Baron Sprue that maybe CCs somebody. Maybe it stuns them, fears them, does something like that. Maybe does a little bit of damage. And then the other one's a proximity ward or 2 proximity wards or something like that, because you can take some stuff from Smite 1 that people liked. That's a camp right there that would be really interesting. Gives you options. You get to choose what you want from it. You get to use the interact button. Something like that could be really cool. And then you remove those gold interacts in the mid lane, add a beacon there instead, remove the gold camps from the side lanes, and add an actual fun, worthwhile fighting over camp there. If you do those 4 things, which easier said than done, But if you're able to do those 4 things, the map would be so sick in my opinion, or at least a lot more fun. And yeah, I would literally, again, I would literally climax on the spot with how much fun I've been having with Smite 2 if the map was better and they fixed solo lane.
The more HP, that stuff, and they're gonna need. So you're talking like 9K on total PC, right? Console is somewhere between 60 and 80%. I'm gonna say it's probably close to your end. We don't have epic numbers. Epic numbers are somewhere.
Here he talks about the player
count. I think
count.
the console base is somewhere between 60 and 80% of the player.
So there's like 5 or 6K like peak most days on Steam.
Base right now. So at any given moment, I think Smite 2 on Steam has like 5 to 6K. Like let's say 6K. I'll be.
Oh, he just said that.
We don't
okay.
have epic numbers. Epic numbers are somewhere between 2 and 3K. So you're talking like 9K on total PC, right? Console is somewhere between 60 and 80%. I'm gonna say it's probably closer to 60.
Thank you for the 4 months back,
on the Xbox Game Pass. It's spiked big from what they were making it seem. So I'm gonna guess we're sitting somewhere between 20, 40, 50K concurrent players with console. That's a lot of players. It's not the biggest game in the world.
I don't know if that's necessarily true. I don't know if those numbers are true. I definitely don't think it's 50K, but there are a lot of people who play on console. More, I feel like probably a better guess would probably be like 20K.
If you only play games because of the size of them, I don't know what to tell you because I play video games for fun.
Because there's probably more people playing on console, especially with Game Pass, like he said. But I don't it's not anywhere near 50K, I think. But
it's fun.
Well, what does concurrent mean? Like actually on at a time, or anybody that's like occasionally plays and logs on?
None of it matters. Nothing else matters. We're thinking too far along. I'm a content creator. If you're just a true enjoyer of video games and you use it as a hobby or something to do to you know, relax, play what's fun, not what tons of people play.
Yes, this is what I always preach. Weak3n is spitting right now. Like 99% of you are playing this game for fun. You don't have any stake in the game, like unless you like care about your different colored pixels from Smite 1. Like you're not like Weak3n and I, where like it's your job. Just play what you find fun. If you think the game is fun, enjoy it. Like. Stop looking 2 years down the road at every game that you play and consider playing and thinking about the amount of people playing. Like, what are you the type of person that only listens to a song because like it's Sabrina Carpenter and like everybody's listening to it this summer? Or do you just like listen to music that you enjoy? And you watch movies and you're like, oh, this is a good movie. When you watch a movie and you come out of the movie theater, you're like, yeah, that was pretty good, but I really enjoyed it. I had a good time, but I should probably go like read what everybody else thought about it, because if they thought it was bad, then I can't think it's good. Like, literally just play what you find fun, man. You got to stop caring so much about like the numbers and everything. There's a decent amount of people who literally just won't try stuff because they're just not like the big game right now or something, which is crazy. And it's even ironic because like the less people that thought like that, the more likely a game like that could grow.
Usually those people end up being miserable anyway. Like it's kind of troll to follow along with what they're doing, in my opinion. And then my last con, which is similar to the rebalancing, is just waiting for gods to come out. I know a lot of you want to play your whatever Nox, whatever it is, and you gotta wait. It sucks, but remember, there are gods that play very different from Smite 1 and Smite 2. There are aspects that change gods completely. There's stuff you've never seen that could be your new favorite thing that you don't know because you're not playing it or trying it. Also, let's be real.
Yep.
There are not a lot of games out right now that are great.
I think that's
there
true.
are quite a few single player games that are out and great, but in terms of multiplayer, especially live service, there are not a lot out that are doing great right now. It doesn't look like a bunch of new games are coming out anytime soon. So stop being a hateful person towards a second video game and just give the game a try. It's that point in time to try the game. See what it feels like. I guarantee you, if you haven't played since January of this year, so in the last 7 months you haven't played the game, it is not the same game. I promise you, it's not.
That is very, very true.
The game before then, and I enjoy playing the game all the time now. I enjoy.
It's a completely different game.
On stream. I enjoy playing on stream.
What it was
I was up
before.
to like 2 a.m. playing on stream. I think the game is way better than Smite 1 ever was. Truly, honestly, I think it's better than Smite 1. And Iris doesn't pay me, bro. I can't even get a skin in this game, and it's how I feel about the game, because it's just the way I feel about the game. It's not necessarily the way I feel about the management and the people that make decisions all the time. But the game is great, and you should.
The video is basically over, and we're about to watch the Wukong reveal, so I need to hurry up. But just to add to that last point, you just try the game, play it occasionally. Like, you don't want to get burnt out. Content is going to slowly be released, so you can have more and more fun with each patch. The game is going to get better and better with each patch. And like, just try it out and have fun every once in a while. You can play Predecessor while you play Smite. You can play other games. You can play Valorant. You can play your single player games. I've been doing that a lot. I think that's part of the reason I'm having so much fun with Smite 2 is because I've been playing a lot of other games. I play scary games every Sunday. I've been grinding a bit of Val ranked. I've been randomly playing like some stuff here and there, doing long playthroughs of certain games. And I've been enjoying it a ton. And I feel like part of the reason for that is just I'm not burning myself out on the game. Again, maybe if I was playing like 10 hours a day of Smite, scrimming it, or Smite 2, of course, I'd probably get bored of it. And I might be like, damn, this is lame. So I don't know, just pace yourself, and I think you'll enjoy the game very, very much so. But anyway, the video is basically over, and the Titan Talk's about to start, so we'll just sign out real quick. Basically, to answer the question, Weak3n did as well. I think it's 100% worth returning to in 2025, especially now. And just giving my honest opinion on it, I've been having so much fun playing certain things lately, and like literally prime Smite 1 levels of dopamine I've been getting. And yeah, I just wish more people were playing the game, especially good players, because if we had like good matches, when I get those good matches, which actually has been happening a lot lately, which is surprising. I've been getting a lot of good games, like a lot of close games back and forth. When that happens, like, I don't know. I don't know. It's just great. It's just great. Okay. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Of course, I'll link Weak3n's video. You guys probably are already all seen it because nobody watches me that doesn't watch Weak3n. Right? Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.